Hi there, my name is Kate and I'm from the support team at Vevox. Today I'm going to show you how to get started and make your own Vevox survey. So before I do, I'm just going to go a little bit into what is a Vevox survey. A Vevox survey allows you to ask your audience, participants or students, multiple questions that they can then answer in their own time at their own pace. Unlike live polling, surveys don't require that real-time interaction, and you can create and send your surveys ahead of time, and then your audience can respond in their own convenience. With our surveys, you can include the following poll types: multiple choice, text response, ranking, rating, numeric, and pin on image. And you can also still have your latex within your polls as well. Lastly, what can you use a survey for? So of course there is a huge range of use cases for a survey, but a couple of popular ones that we find is using it to collect feedback on your lesson, your meeting, your training session, whatever it might be, just to get an insight into how your audience feel that it has gone and get any thoughts from them. A way to be able to continuously improve your sessions there. And when you do these feedback sessions, just a little tip from us, that it can be really helpful to do these anonymously, as it just helps you to get that completely honest feedback from your audience. You could also use them to get preliminary data gathering before your class or your session if you're a teacher, just to sort of see where your students are at and in what direction to take your upcoming class. And if you choose to add a correct answer question into your survey, that will then turn it into a quiz. So these are really popular and they are very good fun. So these are your self-paced quizzes you can see on the screen here, that once your students or your participants have completed that, they will also then get a score and also some feedback on exactly where they have gone wrong or right, and also gives them a correct answer explanation. So some really good self-learning there. What's also really good is if you are on one of our enterprise or institution plans, is that you can also then link your surveys with your LMS, so that being Blackboard, Canvas, Moodle or Brightspace, with your students' survey scores being logged. Great, so I'm now going to walk you through how to go ahead and create your first survey. Okay, so I am now logged into my Vevox dashboard and I am in my session where I want to add in my survey. I want to come to the left-hand side navigation and click on surveys, and from there I'm going to come up and hit create new, and you'll see that then it brings up this little box for me. The first thing that I want to do is put in a survey name here, so I'm going to go ahead and put in chemistry quiz and then hit this tick here to save that change. Underneath that, you've also got a description here that will show on your participants' devices. As you can see, it is filled out with a default bit there, but you can go in and change that. Otherwise, what you can do is go ahead and start adding in your questions. So to do that, you would just hit add question here, and then you can see it brings up a window that is very much similar to when you go create a poll. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and start by making a multiple choice question. So again, you can see it looks very much the same as the polling window, so I'm just going to go ahead and create my question. So you can see here that when I have added the correct answer, that this message has just come up on the bottom confirming that this is now going to turn this into a quiz, which will give my participants immediate feedback. Okay, so you can see now that I've finished creating that question there, that it has added it into my survey here. And if I want to go ahead and then add more questions into my survey, to do that I would just repeat the process. So by clicking add question. What you can also do is use our AI generated tool to add questions into your survey, very similar to the live polling. So if I was not wanting to think of all of these questions myself, I could use this tool. Great, so with those AI questions now in, I have finished making my survey. One last thing I'm going to do is just hit this toggle here. So as indicated, what that does is it shuffles my question order. So when my participants go ahead and open my survey, each participant and each device will show a different order of questions, so that if people are filling it out in a closed space, that people can't just sort of look over each other's shoulders and copy in their responses. So now I've done that, I just want to go ahead and start my survey so that my participants can start responding. So to do that, I would just come down to the bottom here and hit Start Quiz or Start Survey, depending on whether or not you have any correct answers in your survey. So I'm just going to then go ahead and have a look at what that now looks like on my participant device. So you'll notice that there is now a third tab that looks like a clipboard, and within that I have my chemistry quiz survey. You can have an unlimited amount of surveys open at one time during your session, in which case you will have a list of the open surveys there for your participants to choose from and submit. So just going back to my dashboard here, I can keep my survey open for as long as I would like, so it will remain open all the time until I hit Stop Quiz or until I end my session as a whole. So whether that be you leave it open for a week or longer, just after your meeting or class, to allow all of the responses come through when people have time to fill it out. One last handy tip here as well is that if you are doing some live polling during your session and perhaps you have run out of time to complete the sort of last 5 or 6 polls, what you can do is actually export those polls and then use the button up here next to Create New to then import those polls into a survey. So rather than thinking, oh, I've missed out on those polling questions, you're not going to get responses, you can just quickly move them into a survey and then ask people to go ahead and complete that in their own time after the session. When you are sending out a survey link outside of a live environment, you can come down to the bottom here where you have 3 dots, click here and copy a direct app link. So what that will do is it will send people to your session, but it will send people directly to the survey to which you've copied that app link. So if you have got a few surveys running, you know that they will be directed to the right one, or perhaps people that may not be sure where to find the survey, it's a way to make sure that they will land directly there. Okay, so the last thing then now we're going to have a quick look at is your survey data. So when you have your participants starting to respond, what that will look like. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to go to my data tab on the left hand side there. And then from within my data tab, I'm just going to click on the survey results folder there. And you can then see scrolling down that it is showing me all of my survey data and giving me some great data images that I can then download and use perhaps in a presentation. So it's worth noting that I am looking at this data while my survey is still live. So you don't have to close the survey in order to have a look at your current responses that are coming in. You can come in and have a look at any point. You can also come up here and download your data reports, which will have a much more in-depth look at your survey responses that you have received, telling you the individual results of each participant. Okay, so that is it from me with getting started with Vevox surveys. I hope I have helped you get to grip with the process and that you feel like you can go ahead now and make your own survey. Thank you very much for watching.